Hey folks, do we think an alt season could happen in this bull run? There have been two kind of fake outs. We've had, big pumps in altcoins, and I've called them both of the times. The entries were perfect, except the exits, well, they all finished before an altcoin season could really get running. They all finished after about 2 months and caught everyone by surprise, even though I was warning about it. But do we think an altcoin season is eventually going to happen? And how would it happen? Well, it would happen when Ethereum starts to run. Unfortunately, BNB or XRP and Solana are just not going to be strong enough to lead the running altcoin season. People say that XRP could flip Ethereum. Yes, it could flip Ethereum in terms of market cap, in terms of FDV, fully diluted value, but it's not going to be enough to lead an altcoin season because Ethereum has so many things, many smart contracts and NFTs and layer 2 chains, layer 3 chains, and so many protocols, DEXs built on top of it. When it lifts, it's like a rising tide that's going to lift all the little boats. And then when they lift, then the other chains, the competing L1s and L2 chains, such as Sui, such as Solana, they're going to lift as well. Because people, it's like valuing a house. You say, well, we're on the street, and my house is just as good as that house. Why is that house now selling for $1 million and my house only selling for $800,000? When things like that happen, that's when the whole market goes up. XRP, unfortunately, or Solana or Binance, unfortunately, just doesn't have that effect on the rest of the market. You could argue that maybe BNB and XRP combined could do that because they also have a lot of ecosystem built on them. But really what needs to happen is a run up in Ethereum ecosystem. What's been holding Ethereum down right now? Which coins have I been buying in the Ethereum ecosystem? Is it gonna be a strong rebound? And is it gonna bounce enough to take us into a altcoin season? Before we answer all of those questions today, let's first answer the question of which crypto exchange does Pablo Hui use? Well, Pablo uses this exchange that is non-KYC. That means you do not need to show your ID. That means anyone can join, including Americans, because they can't even see that you're American. So over $8,000 of worth of newbie prizes and benefits just for joining and trading for my followers, but only on this Pablo Hui link, right? Over 1.3 million global users. This is the largest non-KYC exchange in the world. So better feels on this website, better execution, fastest growing crypto exchange in the world right now. Okay, so if you're watching on YouTube, then the link is in the description below. The link is in the description below. But if you're watching on another platform, such as this one, then basically just click onto my profile page and it'll be on the stand link right there. It should be the first link that pops up because this is a great deal for everyone. And I think this is worth talking about and letting everyone know. Bitunix, okay, let's get back to Ethereum. Now, just keep in mind only on the Pablo Hui link here. So with Ethereum, you may not be a fan of Ethereum, but you have to admit that in order for the altcoins to run for a real altcoin season, the best thing we could do is to have Ethereum running. So why isn't Ethereum running right now? Well, there are a number of reasons. Let me just start with a few of the more obvious ones. Look at this. Look at this, right? Okay, this is the Ethereum chain, and look at the total value locked, right? Even when price was 41,000 back in December last year, it was still nowhere near the highs. This was what? This was November 28. Total value locked 97 billion. Here was 75 billion, right? It was still the total value locked is still nowhere near, right, as good as the previous all-time high. But then what's even worse, and what caused this is, look at this. That's the chain fees and revenue, right? It used to be somewhere like 30, 40 million when the bull market was running, 30, 40, 50, 60 million. And now it's down to what? Now it's right now, even when it was at the highs at 4,100 US dollars, it was only 10, struggling to make 10 million, right? 4 months back when ETH was at $4,100. Right now, it got down to like 80,000, 300,000, like not even 100,000, struggling to make $100,000, 138,000, right? If last day or so. So that's one of the reasons. And what do you think actually caused this? Well, what caused this is because the layer twos, right? Remember how ETH is proud of the fact that it has a lot of layer twos. Why does it need layer twos? Because those layer twos scale the entire ETH chain, right? It makes the Ethereum network operate faster, operate cheaper. Remember how people last bull run, everyone was complaining about the huge gas fees. If you are an old timer in crypto, you would remember that last bull run we had NFTs, and just to buy like $100 NFT, sometimes you pay $250 in gas to buy a $100 NFT. And then if it goes up like 2x, 3x, you're like, wow, I've just made a lot of money. It's up to $300 now, and you sell that NFT, and the gas fee is another $200 something. So you've spent $400 in gas fees to make $200 net profit in an NFT. And that kind of thing keeps on happening. So in order to reduce, Vitalik Buterin came out and said, Ethereum's not ready for prime time. So he said, well, that's reduce the gas fees and make ETH deflationary. One of the things he did was, or the main thing he did was the Duncan upgrade. And that happened in like 21 from memory. And what happened was basically ETH went from POW to POS. POW, of course, stands for prisoners of war, and POS stands for piece of just joking. Went from proof of work to proof of stake. And yes, gas fees have completely collapsed, which you might say is a good thing, but then, you know, but basically look at the revenue on the ETH chain. Look at the revenue and the fees. It's completely collapsed. It's the much more profitable chains now Solana because of all the gambling on there. Can't really say that word out loud because of the fact that it's there's pump fun, you know, meme coins going on. So just a couple of things, a number of other reasons that caused this whole fiasco. Things including like the demand for the ETH space, each block space is an all-time low now because they're all going to layer twos. Like, you know, Base chain has sucked a lot of users away. EVM wallets now actually offer non-ETH gas options. Like if you use Trust Wallet or MetaMask wallet, you can choose to not use ETH for your gas options. The largest dexes right now, would you believe, are actually not on ETH. Like, I believe it's I think it's Radium on Solana, and in fact, number 2 dex on Solana is also bigger than Uniswap from memory. The top 2 dexes are both on Solana, and also you could argue Hype is also one of those. I'd have that's on certain days, not every day, but on certain days. So what's the Ethereum Foundation gonna do about it? And so far, there's been so much drama with the Ethereum Foundation. That's also part of it. The Ethereum Foundation is basically trying to change from EVM to this RSIC V, right? RSIC V, to boost Ethereum scalability. It's to hope to basically get all the users back to Ethereum itself rather than going to those layer twos. And that's in fact in his internal proposal, when he proposed this to the Ethereum Foundation, Vitalik said, this is probably the only way we're going to save Ethereum. And so they can try this. I don't know if it works or not. Whether it works or not, it's basically it's you don't want to be falling back onto your last option of seeing whether it's going to work or not. But either way, look, I think the market always does something called buy on rumor, sell on news. So I think the market is going to buy on this rumor and then probably sell as the new RSIC V, right, upgrade is actually complete. So I think either way, prices should make a very big bounce. I like the chart of the way ETH is looking at right now. So going from the fundamentals now to basically technical analysis, what happens here is ETH has this similar line, like all the stocks, like here. It needs to break through this line. Yep. And that's around this 2100 area. It needs to pop through. in early May. Let's see if it can get to 2300, and then we've broken the pressure trend line. In the short term, the pressure trend line is this one, and ETH has already broken that. It's looking good for the short term. So I'll tell you one more thing why I like the ETH chart right now. So it's because, have you noticed this shape down here? What does that remind you of? It almost looks like a U shape. Where have we seen this U shape before? Crash, kind of go sideways and up, right? We have a large single bar down, large single bar up. Where have we seen that before? I'll show you guys where we've seen that before. Do we all remember the absolute bottom of Bitcoin at 15K? So Bitcoin at 15K looked like this. This was Bitcoin bottom 15K, okay. It was also a U shape. Look at this. This was the bottom in Bitcoin, okay? 2 massive bars down, almost a sideways consolidation, then boom, 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 back up again. Took like 4 bars. Have a look at this shape. Keep that shape in mind. Maybe I need a more clear chart. Let's use this one instead. Okay, so let's have a look. Bitcoin bottom. Okay, there we go. Clear U-shaped bottom, right? Bang, down, flat, small rising flat, up, U-shape, and then that was the exact bottom, and Bitcoin went on this 7 to 8x run since then. 7x now. So keep this image in mind. Think about that U-shape compared to this U-shape. U-shape, right? So look, it doesn't matter if what the Ethereum Foundation and what Vitalik is planning is going to work or not. Nobody knows it's going to work or not. Everybody said ETH changing to POS is not going to work. It's they meant that it's going to disintegrate in the air. Like you're trying to change the airplanes' engines as it's flying in the air. It's just going to disintegrate, and yet it actually worked. Proof of stake worked. In the long term, it didn't work, but the market wasn't worried about that. The market ran up to like $4,800 per Ethereum on the speculation that was going to work. That's all we need right now for this RSIC V upgrade. So, so basically, I think ETH is up for a big rebound, but I keep on saying ETH. I bought ETH all the way on the way down, right? But I'm not expecting ETH to be the fastest horse out of this rebound because of all the other layer ones that are faster, such as if you look at Sui is obviously the fastest right now, and also coins such as Solana. Massive drop, like ETH got hammered when Pump Fund wasn't working, and now a massive 50% bounce as well. Have a look at a couple of the coins that I like on the ETH ecosystem. So Ethereum name services, that's like the blue chip on the Ethereum blockchain. So if ETH bounces, every chance ENS is going to bounce. In fact, it's already went from $12 to $20. So that's like a 70% bounce. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good. 70% bounce. It's much better than ETH. ETH is only like a 23% bounce so far. And what I like about it is the fact that I was gonna say a inverse shoulder, head shoulder, but this has gone higher. We want the second shoulder to be lower like this, so we can draw a line through like this, and then we bounce. But either way, I like the look of this chart. We have resistance, of course, here. This was well marked out on the charts at this 18.5 to 21.4 area. A little bit of pullback to 17, 16, something like this, because 16's here. And I think at least we can hit this $28 area. And $28 would be massive resistance because look, this is the resistance line. This is the resistance line. And this is the major the major resistance level, because we've had this $29, $30 area. We've had a number of rejections here, pivot tops and pivot bottom here as well. So, but I like ENS. I've dollar cost average on the way down. I continue to hold it. I mean, Ethereum has just gone down further than what most people are expecting. Now, Sushi Swap, and also the one for Binance is called Pancake Swap. I've dollar cost average down into both of them. Now with Sushi Swap, it's why not Uniswap? Uniswap is just a little bit larger, and look at Sushi Swap all-time high. I know it's not a fair comparison because they've been when it was at $22, Sushi Swap had a lot less supply. They've been unlocking over the last, this is 4 years ago. They've been unlocking since exactly 4 years ago, and so therefore it's had a lot more coins in circulation now. But however, it's still much smaller than Uniswap and Sushi Swap. All they need to do is come out with a trick, like an announcement saying they'll share, like, I don't know, 10, 20, 30% of their fees with users, and then all of a sudden it'll start popping up. So it is in fact forming a neckline here for a inverse head and shoulders. So this is right, not as much of a bounce as ENS, went from 45 cents to 70 cents. Yeah, not as much of a bounce. So ENS I would think would outperform this one, but however, you still have let's give it a target, 45 to 71. So that's 27 cents, and then we project 27 cents from here. That would give it at 97 cents. Would give us that makes perfect sense. So 97 cents, that's perfect. That's perfect because you have this resistance zone right here as well. So next move is to this 98, 97 area. It was a resistance zone that has been marked for a long while now. Look at all these bottoms here on Sushi. So those are the updates for the Sushi ecosystem. We hope that those Vitalik and those guys get their act together. Okay, thank you guys. That's probably do Sui ecosystem next. Catch you next episode.